All right, JumpStart BFR family, we are back with yet another JumpStart BFR Experience episode. Today it's Chris and I, and we actually are going over we're going over BFR making headlines.
Yeah, I remember we had seen some stuff as we were doing research, but I saw another article come out.
Yeah.
I think I shot you a text. You had seen it.
Right.
And so that really kind of got us thinking about, like you said, the headlines that BFR training's coming on.
So specifically Mark Wahlberg, you guys have probably seen him in some movies. You know Mark Wahlberg pretty well? He did the one with
Daddy's Home. With Will Ferrell.
With Will Ferrell? That was the Good Cop, Bad Cop one too?
Oh, no, that was...
I forgot what it was. That one's hilarious.
Yeah.
He's good like in serious films, but also I think he's hilarious.
Yeah.
But I remember actually, I don't know if you saw this, but he was doing this like, he got interviewed by Men's Health for his workout regimen. He would wake up at like 2:30 in the morning. He would do 3 workouts a day, woke up at 2:30, did a workout, ate some food, golfed, did another workout, ate like 10 eggs, then took his kids to school. Anyways, this was a few years back, but word on the street is he doesn't do that anymore because it's psycho. But I don't think it's I don't know if he just did that for the video or not.
Did it for the gram?
Yeah, but now he's actually making headlines for using blood flow restriction training. We actually have the article up, so he actually uses another company. And it's just nice to see that it's slowly making its way. Like we talked about in another episode, that blood flow restriction, it's not as well known in U.S., but it's been in other parts of the world. But now it's slowly coming. To see this kind of coverage, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And let's see. So it talks about the title of it is Mark Wahlberg's blood flow restriction lifting hack actually safe? So you want to address that real quick? Is blood flow restriction training safe?
Yeah, I would say when it comes down to some of these things, when we talk about like life hacks, we automatically think like shortcut.
Right.
We think that you're usurping one process to get the end result of a more long and steady journey. But in actuality, blood flow restriction has been researched, critically, studied and looked at. The cool thing is that it's been looked at in a lot of different platforms with a lot of different age groups. Right. More specifically, like elderly. A lot of elderly people have been, tested as it relates to some of how they bounce back, whether it's pre-surgery or post-op or something like that. But just due to the research and kind of finding that, regardless of, your circumstance, what, from a health perspective, that blood flow restriction training is safe. And I think a lot of the challenges are training in itself is semi-dangerous, right? Like, you assume a certain amount of risk when you work out. Right. But at the same time, using blood flow restriction training is something that's only going to help kind of modify the potential load you have to go through. Exactly. I think because when we look at Mark Wahlberg, we're looking at like hypertrophy training, big, not like sub-maximal loads, 60% of your max effort. And when we look at that, the higher up in terms of your max rep you go, the more potential for injury or something to go wrong. Right. And so what we're doing with blood flow restriction training through JumpStart is that we're actually going to almost minimal load, almost nothing, and still being able to get some of those effects.
So I got 2 things. It's 2 things I actually don't like about. So I really enjoy that, we're having celebrities using it, and it's slowly coming mainstream, but there's 2 things I don't like that Mark Wahlberg does. And I guess maybe you can address it or maybe help me think this through. But one is, because he trains almost all the time with his bands on, like all the time. Mm-hmm. So one thing I've seen is he puts it on both his arms and his legs. And the research has been, it's already intense, and it could cause, you'd have to have, so that's the first thing. Having the arm bands and the leg bands on at the same time, it's pretty... You're getting to a unsafe point. And since he's in the media, I feel like people see that and they're like, okay, well, I'm just going to start doing the same exact thing without thinking about the precautionary measures or understanding the true intensity behind it, what that could do to your heart. It is safe, but I feel like he's in an extreme spot.
Well, what happens when you get to a higher, if for Olympians, when an Olympic 100-meter runner is trying to run and hit their fastest time possible, they're not trying to get a second faster. right? They're talking about hundreds and thousands of seconds of, so like the higher up you go, the longer you've been training, the more incremental the change you're trying to get. And so therefore you do have to push the limits and try to find ways to intensify or add that level of like feeling, right? And so, but at the same time, what we have to think about is like common sense. Just because it is harder doesn't make it better. And we have to look at like when you're using arm and leg cuffs, your body's sending a signal. But like, you know, back in the day when I had a phone, if I was on the phone and we didn't have call waiting, like the other person would get a busy signal. It's a thing. Trust me, it used to be a thing, okay? So that's what your body's going to get a little bit. And so we don't have a lot of research on that. But at the same time, if we're sending a signal, we want it to be specific to what we want. And if we're sending too many signals and we're putting too much stress or restriction, the opportunity for danger or, you know, some level of disruption is higher. So we just want to definitely mitigate the risk factor. Working out in itself has that risk, right? Like we said. But if you increase that risk just for the sake of a feeling, I don't know what the cost benefit is.
So so there's that. That's one thing. And by the way, he might be going off some theory or something. I haven't seen it yet. Any of the research we've looked at. But that also goes to say there's still though there's so much research that's been done, there's so much more that can be done. So number 2 was he wears them for a really long time. Like sometimes when he's doing his workouts, like they're rowing for like an hour. So I guess I don't know what intensity they're at, but like when we do BFR workouts, they're like 15, 20, 30 minutes long. So I'm like, dude, what kind of workout are you doing?
And that's tough because if you are doing a long like aerobic type workout, maybe the pressure's a lot lower. That's what I would be assuming without knowing for a fact, because with lower pressure, you got less occlusion happening. So maybe you're trying to get incremental effects of it, but it's tough. It's tough to even wear that for that long. just to sit around, let alone work out. So
and there's not too much, like one of the reasons we enjoy our company is because there's not too much guidance either. So for instance, think about someone who's interested, sees Mark Wahlberg and they're like, oh, I'm just gonna start doing it. Like we realized that was an issue and we're like, okay, there has to be structured protocol and training to follow. There's people that use our cuffs that are rowers and now they know how to integrate it into their rowing regimen. But if you look at someone like, have you ever seen those videos where like someone's doing some crazy drill and then you look at it, you're like, shoot, I want to go do that too. But then you realize, no, you got to first fundamentally be able to do this. You're going to blow out your Achilles. I think that like seeing Mark do that, some people might be like, oh, I can just do that too. That's the norm.
And it is not one size fits all, that's for sure. And that's what we realized, like whether you're using a foam roller or a Theragun or any type of either training or recovery modality, like you have to be at least individualized, and you have to take that into consideration. You shouldn't take somebody else's workout and erase their name and put your name on it.
So tell me this, now that it was really nice to see this. I know you had sent it to me and I was like, okay, cool, we're even seeing it ourselves. I've also seen, like on the other end, what would you tell people that are, I mean, they're not in the world that we see it, we understand it. I see this, like I can see it moving forward slowly. What would you tell people that either are still on the fence about it or like, why is it important to be not just an early adapter, but start realizing like, look, this is something we got to start thinking about. This is not something 5-10 years down the line. We need to start doing this now. What would you say to someone like that?
I just think, especially with the ease of like, our society, how things are moving now, like we're trying to be, work smarter, not harder. But at the same time, we understand the importance of intensity. Like there's all these different diets out there, right? Like the paleo, the keto. Like people are looking at ways to give that level of biohack. But with this, like it's being able to train, it's being able to put stress on your body for longevity. Like, and that's one thing to think about, because I'm seeing, youth sports is one of the things that we've talked about before, but it's something that really has to be considered, because these youth athletes are going to become, high school athletes and then become young adults. And whether, you're a weekend warrior or you're just trying to just stay fit for lifestyle purposes, that stuff that you did when you were a kid is residual. Like,
Yeah.
like these kids are, you know, and
Don't have to tell
these
me
individuals are going to, you know, have those effects and being
Yeah.
able to work. Like even today, like if I was to do some drills or workouts, like my knee would start, you know,
Yeah.
that's from a long time ago.
Right.
So that, I think that's something to think about. Like the way our bodies respond to stuff is important.
Yeah. And I think maybe, but like everything that was, things have changed. Like the food has changed. The environment has changed. Like there's a lot of things that have changed. And I feel like some people are still in that old mentality of like, you have to train hard. You have to, like, if you're not putting yourself in the ground every day, how are you going to get better? I know there's coaches and there's teams that work like that. But it's not, I understand the method, but I don't know how safe it is anymore.
Yeah.
Like,
I think that, you know, the world of training has evolved, right? And as we look at things and you know, what made me think of is what's that movie Icarus, right? Where they talked about it's that documentary that was about the Russians and the doping and all that stuff.
Okay.
And looking at like the science is always going to be there, right?
Yeah.
But the understanding of it isn't always going to, you know, follow suit. Like we're going to have advancements in terms of like science, in terms of training, in terms of, you know, nutrition, but the comprehension of what kind of effects that's going to have,
yeah,
you know, are always a little bit slower to catch up, it seems like.
Yeah. And so one other thing I wanted to mention is some people see BFR, blood flow restriction training, as a biohack. Now, I kind of want to get clear on this biohack thing where people think biohack is like a shortcut. And I want to be clear, like this is not a short, like, I don't know how to explain it properly, but it's not a shortcut. It's like, it's a great thing to have in your tool.
Does the analogy like Waze? Like
Waze, okay.
I like Google Maps.
Yeah.
My wife likes Waze.
Yeah, I like Waze.
And I think it's kind of like Waze. Is that right? Would
Well,
that be a good
for
way
instance,
to think
like
about
a lot of people don't like Apple Maps, so they go to Google Maps. So kind of the same thing.
But like it's, okay, you have a destination. This is where you're starting. And sometimes there's traffic in the way or whatever. There's a hazard. And so you just reroute. You're taking a more efficient route to your destination.
Exactly.
Versus like a shortcut, like I'm gonna actually drive off road over the mountain. Like it's not a it's not a secret tunnel.
You still have to make the drive. The time is still like the effort is still. That's good. That's a good one.
I have to work that one out a little bit, but I think it's there.
So like, okay, Waze and Google. What I like is you can, I drive in the carpool lane, so I have carpool car.
By yourself?
No, carpool, single lane, carpool lane. I got the stickers.
Okay.
But like on Apple Maps, you can't do that. Apple Maps just doesn't know. It's just stuck. And Apple's supposed to be like the company. I'm like, dude, how do you guys not know?
Tolls
or tolls, it doesn't factor any of that in there.
Okay.
But like Waze gives you a bunch of different options. Google is like, oh, you're in a single lane. Okay, well this would actually be the route. So you still have to go. You still got to get the work in. But it's just a better way.
Yeah. So
that's good.
We're the ways of.
We're the ways of training.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that like there's a lot of people that think about shortcuts. Even when I was younger, I not that I was like looking for a shortcut, but I was looking for a better way. And then I realized as you get older, it's like there's not really like in the world of sports, you can cheat to get there, or you can be smart and get there. Like you can get there. You're still gonna have to go through it, but you can just do it correctly. I don't know. Yeah. So like if you take the cheating out of it, and now like old school, how can I still take in like all the great things? Like, one thing we talked about is like this is based off hypertrophy principles that are everlasting. How can I use those same principles but do it in a better way? That's BFR. Yeah. I really think it is. And it's not just, by the way, I know we're talking about athletes right now. It's not just, it's like everybody.
Yeah.
It's a better way to train for everybody. And I think, I think when we first started this, I was like so gung-ho about like our visions. We all had different visions for the company, but I really thought like this is going to change the way everyone works out. But I also forgot to realize that a lot of people don't understand the importance of physical exercise.
Or don't,
like how do I don't know if we can change that.
Yeah.
Like I think.
But I think my thing is like with that, maybe we can't change everybody, but maybe one person just figures out and starts trusting training.
Yeah,
You know?
it's good for you.
Yeah.
Like I think when we did our launch, or like before we were doing our launch, we were putting together our landing pages, and saying like it's like we have to have a part about the benefits of physical fitness. Like this has to like they talk about it in school. Like the minimums in school is like
It's non-existent. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like dude, but it's gonna change your life.
Yeah.
Like getting oxygen into your brain is gonna change. It's like even going to walk. People that are sedentary, I'm telling you, if you're struggling, try to figure out how to put physical fitness. And if there's a barrier to entry in physical fitness, get into it with BFR. It will help. It's not gonna it's not gonna exclude the work. You still got to put the work in, but it's gonna help you.
Yeah.
So as we go every day, I realize like this is gonna be a long we got to bite the bullet and go long term, and some people will, some people won't, and I hope more people will.
Yeah.
But
the education is important. But I wanted to kind of touch on when you're talking about the shortcut thing. Like I'm a sports fan. I like the Dallas Cowboys, right? I saw
and the podcast now.
Yeah. I saw Jerry Jones. He's the owner of the Cowboys. He gave a speech. And he was talking about, it was something about some, Dak Prescott's contract. Okay. But one thing he said that just really stuck with me is like, he says, everything I've ever done, like, in terms of like from a business perspective, I overpaid for. And you know what? Every time I tried to find a discount, that's exactly what I got. Exactly. I got a discount. And, it just sits with me because there's so many times where I thought that I was going to be able to shortcut something or, kind of find you know what, there's a better, easier way to do this. Yeah. It ends up catching up with me anyway.
Yeah, I think Gary Vee had said something, he put something up. It was a clip from one of his like get-togethers where the kid's like, man, I got scammed out of $20,000, and he's like, "Yeah, someone that got scammed at $20,000, you were looking for a shortcut." Yeah, and the kid goes silent. That's what happens.
Get rich quick or whatever it is.
Yeah, like it's like you get what you pay for. Like when you go for the cheap route, you're getting cheap, and you always pay more when you go that route. Like whether it's with cars, whether it's with like food. Like for instance, let's just think about food, right? You get cheap food, you're gonna like it might taste good, but when it's inside you, it's gonna when you get good food. Weak. I mean, it goes for everything. But yeah, absolutely. I think paying full price, like get good at paying full price. Man. Yeah, it's gonna change. It's gonna change everything for you. Not just one thing. Like those principles. I mean, it's just going to change your character.
Life, right? But and again, like what you're saying with training, or like people that are sedent and just kind of haven't been used to it. I saw like a little meme. It was like, you need to work out to get more energy, but you need energy to work out. Yeah. And it says, sounds like a pyramid scheme. I thought that was so funny.
Yeah. And by the way, we're not trying to be rude for people that don't, but like coaching, for instance, yourself, sometimes or almost all the time you're saying the same thing, but you're saying it in different ways. I don't know what message it's going to be for you guys, whether someone has to yell at you or tell it to you nicely, or you're going to, what usually happens?
They go to the doctor.
Or they have a health scare. Say, hey, you have high cholesterol or you have diabetes now. And then they're like, oh, okay, this is serious. And then they have, I'll just take the pills for it, or maybe like, even then, people don't care. So get serious now.
Yeah, for sure.
My grandma used to tell me, I don't know if it was my grandma, maybe my grandma, but she said if you take care of your stomach the first 25 years or the first 50 years, it'll take care of you the next 50 years. So dang, if you take care of your body, it'll take care of you. So yeah,
that's cool. But yeah, I just think with the elite athletes and people that are training, I think everything's a trickle down. Like you look at CrossFit, right, and looking at like HIIT training, like this is all stuff that elite athletes were doing at one point, and it just kind of filtered down to become normalized in mainstream.
Exactly,
like foam rolling and all these other things, right? So it's just a way to handle training and manipulate training. It could be a supplement to your already existing training plan. It could be something on a recovery basis. So that's what's cool about it. That's what I look forward to seeing. I want to really see a young person using this and being able to, take care of themselves and train properly and then watch it evolve over the years. Like say, something happens, they twist their ankle. They want to get their ankle better, and they're in that rehab process. They use JumpStart. I want to see the evolution of it. I can't wait. That's going to be fun.
It's so true that you say that, like that trickle down. Like when you think even about dieting, right? Some of these crazy diets, like I don't know how, but like depending on the circles that you're in life, like you have to get into that circle or be around that in order to like bring it down to everybody else. I don't know why it's like all the way, like when we think about professional athletes, they're like, why do they get it? And what, like now, why are we hearing about it? But they're doing it, right? So it's coming slowly. And you know what? I really don't get left behind. Be part of the movement, man. This is going to, I really believe in my heart. There's going to be a shift. People are going to be doing it. And if you are going to do it with us.
Yeah.
That's all we got for today. That was a fun episode. If you guys have any questions, feel free to email us info@JumpStart Systems. And if you guys have something you want us to speak about specifically.
Yeah, we'd love to hear.
Yeah, even if it's about your kid or if it's about your training, protocols, safety, products, we're open. So info@jumpstartsystems.com. And if you want to see the video version, if you're watching this or if you're listening to this audio, you can go to youtube.com and we record all the podcasts on video as well. So with that, we'll see you guys on the next show.
Yep.
See you guys soon.